those negativities that people felt was when they took themselves out of the environment that God created for us. The environment that God said when He created it, it is good, right?
Right.
Right? Did He create the cell phone and say it's good?
No.
No, man created it,
Well,
right? And I think that was like a big shift for us. Because I know people now that don't ever leave their houses. You know, that's actually a big thing in certain cultures. I know, specifically in like Japanese culture, it's a big thing. The otaku, the shut-in, they shut themselves inside for months on end, and they don't leave their apartment. They get everything sent to them. They work from the computer. They play video games all the time, and they just spend their whole life inside of a box in their room, surrounded by man-made stuff. And these people are miserable.
Yeah.
Miserable, man.
Well, you know, one of the, I'm not saying this is, you know, why they created this logo, but it does kind of seem a little fishy to me. The fact that, you know, look at the logo for Apple.
Yeah, I figured you were going to say that.
You know, it's a bite out of the apple. And I know that in the Bible it tells us, you know, when Eve ate from the forbidden fruit, it doesn't specifically say an apple.
Right.
But when you look at what people typically picture, it is the apple or something that looks like an apple. And then sure enough, you know, you look at the logo today for Apple and it's a bite taken out of that, you know? Mm-hmm. And look at all the sinful stuff that goes down on the internet, the Wi-Fi, Google, YouTube, Facebook, a lot of stuff. I mean, people have even seen live deaths, live murders take place, live suicides take place on Facebook. But that's why, Brother Brandon, you know, I truly believe this. If that's what people are going to spend most of their time doing, they're going to be on social media, they're going to be on Facebook, they're going to be on Instagram, they're going to be listening to podcasts. That's exactly why we're doing what we're doing.
Exactly.
Because maybe while they're searching on Instagram or whatever, they're going to find us. They're going to find me talking about Christ. They're going to find you, Brother Brandon, putting up something on your site about Christ or about this podcast. And maybe if we keep doing this, you know, they'll see us on YouTube. They'll see us on Facebook, whatever. So that's why God has soldiers like you and I. We are not really the old generation by any means. We are more so the new type of, you know, evangelist or Christian. We are. We're not really old-fashioned by any means. So we're speaking to this generation who's on Facebook, Instagram, what have you.
Well, that's the thing too, man, because there's no way, like, even though what I was saying is, like, that big shift that I noticed was when people began to surround themselves more with the internet, with TVs, with video games, with phones and all that. You're not gonna have them put all that away. You're not gonna have people get rid of all that stuff, and it's not gonna happen, right? And that's why, exactly like what you were saying, what we need is to have more godly content being flooded into those than evil content, man.
Yes.
But right now we're not having that, man, because, you know, you look at, like, if you look at the studies when it comes to the generations and their belief systems, right? Like, the generation that's growing up now, hardly any of them believe in God, right? And if they do, hardly any of them believe in the Christian God,
right?
Right, and so that's why, you know, the internet is being flooded with evil, man.
Yeah, it is
nonstop. You know, if you go on social media, it's just nothing but hate.
Yeah,
hate, man.
It is,
and the problem with that is a lot of people will surround themselves in those same thought bubbles, right? When you have people who you know, think a certain way, right? Whether it be an ideological view, political view, a religious view, they tend to, on those social medias, only surround themselves with people who view the world the exact same way.
Right.
And it tends to get more and more extreme because of that.
Right.
And the problem with that is, you know, that's why we need people who have different views, who are able to communicate with each other, because that's the only way for you to be able to break out of those loops, right? And you can look at it not only from that, political mindset or religious mindset or ideological mindset, but you can look at that from a personal mindset where I know everybody gets like this, where if you're being negative, right, if you're just being sad or upset, it's very easy to be sucked into this like reoccurring loop of sadness and being upset, where you just get sad and there's no way you can get out of it. Right? Because you just keep thinking and brooding on what's making you sad, or you keep thinking and brooding on what's making you mad, and it keeps getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
Right? Until you have some kind of outside effect that snaps you out of it. Right? Usually, it's somebody like coming up and being like, "Hey, man, are you good? You want to talk about these things?" Like, something like that, or praying to God. Right? It's another way to snap yourself out of it. And if you hop on these social media websites and you spend all of your time, almost all of your awake time on it, and all you're surrounded by is people who view the world the exact same way that you do, you're never going to see anything else of the world. You're never going to be able to, because you won't allow yourself to.
Right.
And you'll actually cement yourself more and more into that view to where, after a while, you'll never be able to view the world anyway else. And
you've been brainwashed.
Yeah.
Basically.
Effectively. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And social media can kind of be that way, man. I gotta admit, back when the election was about to go down, I'm seeing so much from both sides, man. And I could see where someone, if they only listen to one side, how they can it could consume you, and next thing you know, you're having all this anger inside of you, and you're carrying that to work. You're carrying that to your kid's ball game. You're carrying that to church, wherever you go, and you're just living in this negative mindset where it's us against them, and it's a war, and it's terrible to see, the battle that's taking place just on social media. Yeah. Don't even count, what we're seeing out here in the streets. Just on social media alone, there has been this war of words and beliefs. And this is my thing, Brandon, and this is where I stand. And if anyone has a better idea than this, I want you to reach out to us at Generation Christ Podcast at gmail.com, Healing Cross Network at gmail.com. If you have a better plan than this, then you let me know. But this is what I think. If everyone in the world right now, everyone, no matter where you're at, Africa, Asia, it doesn't matter, Middle East, North America, South, it doesn't matter. Everyone in the earth right now, come to Christ, accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Ask for forgiveness, repent, and come to God and have God control your life. If everyone did that right now, Brandon, it would solve every issue in the world. World hunger, no more. Always we would have peace, no more wars. Everyone would have love, kindness, forgiveness. What would be wrong with the world? Nothing. We would all be saved. This world would be saved. Who knows? We might even stay here longer because God would be so proud of us. He wouldn't have to send Jesus for a while. But it's not going to happen. We know God already knew it wasn't going to happen. Christ knew it wasn't going to happen. We know it's not going to happen. Because not everyone is a child of God. They're just not. There's no other way around that. It's just how it is. And God knew that. God knows that. So that to me is, it makes me wonder, Brandon, when you hear these people that have a problem with Christ, they have a problem with God, they don't feel like that's the way to go, that's not true, or this or that. What is so wrong with coming to God? What is so wrong with coming to Christ when if everyone did so, it would solve every issue in the world? Well, I mean, you look at it from a point of before you were saved, man. The enemy has such a strong hold on you. Yeah. Really, like, the devil manipulates the way you think and feel. He does. When you don't have Jesus Christ in you, right, that is the restrainer that restrains the evil spirits, man. When you don't have him in you, you have the influence of anything that wants to influence over you, man. Yeah. Coming into you, right? And these demons and the devil himself, man, has just such a strong hold on these people that
that he's manipulated their mind and their emotions in a way that they won't ever accept it. And there was a long period of time you wouldn't either.
Right.
Right? And it takes God to really do that, and people around you to tell you the answer, but God to really convict you and to be like, look, man, I'm trying to help you, and to pull those things away back for a little bit, just to be like, okay, now, are you going to actually call out for me? Are you actually going to turn from what you're doing? Because even, it doesn't matter how, evil you are, or how much drugs you're on, or how drunk you are all the time, or how much bad stuff you do, right? Everybody who does those things at one point in time, throughout that, they look at themselves in the mirror, figuratively or literally, and they say, wow, I'm really disgusted with who I am. I really wish I could change this. There were plenty of times when I was all on drugs that I thought about that, where I was like, man, I really just wish I could be different than who I am. But I tried to do it from a materialistic, earthly view at first.
Right.
Where it was like, all right, I'll just stop. I got this. I can do this.
Yeah.
You can't, man.
No, you can't.
Because you're so taken over by that stuff, man.
You are.
Like, it takes God, man. It really does. It takes basically, not basically, but it takes simply just saying, I can't do it, God. You have to help me. You have to do it for me.
Yeah.
Right? I have to give you my all, because I've tried it all my ways and none of it's worked. Right? And so a lot of those people who will never accept, man, they're stuck in their own arrogance and pride that they won't accept that they're wrong. They can't, like.
Right. Well, that's too the reason why you see now we have billionaires in this world. Eventually there will be trillionaires, right?
So someone's really close, actually. I think Elon Musk is like $200 billion. He's like the richest man in the world right now. But it's like 200 and some $1 billion.
Yeah.
Right? Well, that's only, what, 8 billion more, 800 billion more until he's a trillionaire?
Well,
right? It's doable.
Well, you look at that. Look what I was saying earlier about world hunger. Just world hunger. How if everyone came to Christ right now, it would solve world hunger. It would fix world hunger. But then you take Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett. You take
Jeff
these
Bezos.
men. They're the richest men in the world. They've got all the money in the world. But guess one thing they cannot do? They cannot solve world hunger. With all that money, they haven't. If they say, oh, I could solve world hunger, we'll do it. If they really think they can do it, do it. But they haven't, and they never will. They never will.
Want to, man.
With all that money, they can't make it happen.
And another thing to think about that too, right, is one of the reasons why, if everybody turned to God and accepted Jesus Christ, that it would end world hunger, is because think about the blessings God would pour on this world. Think about it, man. Like, he's the one who makes it rain. He's the one who's able to grow plants, right? Like, look at he's the one who's able to just rain manna down in the wilderness for them to eat, right? To give them food. The one who gave Moses the ability to strike that rock and produce a spring of water.
Yeah.
Right? That God is able to do all things, right? And you also have to look at it too, right? When the nations turn away from him, they get droughts and famines.
Right.
They don't get abundance.
Right.
Right? And that's the other thing. Like, you think, like, everybody sits here and is talking about global warming and the amount of emissions we're pouring into the environment. Do you think God can't just, like, snap his fingers and fix all that? You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people tend to look at God at a very, like putting him in a box, man. Like, thinking, I don't know, they just try and humanize God.
Right.
And God's perfect and all-powerful, right? Like, he can snap his fingers and fix all this stuff. There's a reason he doesn't, right? And that's not for us to know.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So don't question it, right? No. I mean, I get that it's important to question things, right? But think about it, right? There's a reason he's doing it, and that reason is ultimately good. Yes. And when you try to like question what his purpose is,